If someone had told me exactly 5 years ago that I would one day be able to sit in front of a camera like this, recording myself talking confidently, I would have probably called them delusional or crazy or something. Growing up, I was this chronic shy girl. That is because when I turned 16, I had this chronic acne all over my face. I had black spots, pimples just all over my face. The only thing you could see on my face was just my eyes and maybe my teeth. It was that bad. It dealt with my self esteem. I mean, if there was an award given to someone with the lowest self esteem, I probably would have taken that award. The second reason why I really could not see myself making a YouTube video or sitting in front of a camera is because of the fact that I really could not speak English well. Well, I thought I could not speak English well. Now, I grew up in Cameroon. We have two official languages, which is French and English. Now, Cameroon, we have the Southwest and Northwest region where English is a predominant language. So I grew up in the Southwest region of Cameroon and I studied in English. I schooled in English. But the thing is, we don't really speak English as often as we should or we need to. And the reason is because back at home, we usually use our local palang, which is the pidgin English. So every time I come back at home, in the community, with friends, with family, we usually speak in pidgin. So that has practically damaged a lot of people's spoken English in Cameroon, including me. I mean, my vocabulary isn't the greatest, and I knew deep within me that if I were to speak in front of an audience, maybe to speak in a public space like on YouTube here, I will probably get laughed at because I'm going to make a lot of grammatical errors. So there was no way I would have that confidence. That was just not going to happen. Fast forward to today, here I am. I've been able to make over 300 videos and I've been also able to improve my financial situation with the help of content creation, precisely YouTube. And not just that, I'm now building a community of like minded individuals, which of course you can join. The link of the community is going to be in the description box. It's actually a WhatsApp community for those who are interested in learning how to create or build digital skills, to create an online business, maybe to create a YouTube channel, to create digital products and sell online, or to start freelancing, remote work. So, this is a community for everyone who is interested in creating some form of an online side hustle or business anytime, anywhere. Anyways, so how was I able to go from that girl, that shy girl, to this girl who can now speak confidently on camera? The first thing I did was to trick my mind into believing that I'm a confident person. Everything begins in your mind, and confidence is no difference. The truth is that confidence actually begins in your mind before it gets to show on your face. There's this saying that the only limitation a person has is the one they truly believe in. And that is true. I remember when I had acne all over my face, one of the things I hated doing was to look myself in the mirror because the mirror always seemed to remind me of how ugly I was. Every time I try to forget, but when I get in front of the mirror, I get reminded of how ugly I was, of how dirty I looked. Because of the way I actually saw myself, I used to think that that was how everyone else saw me. So every time I was talking to someone, I always felt like that person was judging me inwardly, even though I could not read people's mind, but I thought I could actually read what they were saying because I had no confidence in myself because I knew there was something wrong with me. So because of this, most times when I talk to people, I will always try to avoid having eye contacts with them. So I might be talking with someone here, but I'm looking down or just looking somewhere else just to avoid any form of eye contact with that person. Most of the times, because of my own reactions, that is when a lot of times people get to realize or notice that maybe there's something wrong with me. Most times, it is your own reaction that helps to get people to notice that there is something wrong with you. The second tip is to speak with simplicity. I used to think that to be able to speak in front of an audience, then you need to use big and complicated words because it's going to make you look and sound smart. It's going to make your audience to see you as an intellect or a professional. And of course, they're going to go ahead to respect you. But that is not the case because your audience wants to hear you. not a dictionary. And the truth is, a majority of your audience are going to be or will be normal people like you and I who wants things to be broken down in the simplest way possible, using the simplest grammar possible. I mean, life is already complicated enough as it is. Nobody has the time to try to dissect whatever message you're trying to pass them. The audience don't care about your big and complicated vocabulary. All they care about is the message that you're trying to pass to them. And of course, how that message is going to help them. Using complicated words is most likely going to confuse them. So to make your audience more comfortable, you need to slow down and use simple, basic English. The next thing I had to do was to embrace my natural accent. This is one of the biggest mistakes a lot of new creators, especially non-native English-speaking creators, do. What I see is that most of them, they try to fake their accents to sound American or even British because they kind of feel like that is what is professional, sounds professional. That is what is more marketable online. Back when I just started creating content on YouTube, I used to put a lot of pressure on myself to speak like most of the creators I used to watch. And back then, I used to watch mostly American content creators. That's because I saw the aesthetic, I saw the way they were talking. It looked so cool and it sounded so nice, and the way they were getting views. So I thought that was what was watchable on YouTube. And plus, I also had experience teaching online as an English tutor on Preply. And what I realized was that most of the teachers that were getting more lessons, that were getting more clients' demands or student demands were mostly Americans or British or people who even have the American accent or a British accent. So in my mind, I thought that was exactly what was marketable. That was what actually sells. So I used to think, if I can't talk like these people, then how on earth am I going to be able to find a client on social media? How on earth am I going to be able to make money on social media? So most times I would try to fake the American accent, but it always sounded off because it didn't really feel real. It didn't sound natural. I mean, it wasn't authentic. It wasn't really something that I was used to. And I realized that most times I'll focus on trying to fake the accent instead of trying to pass the message that I want to pass. When you pressure yourself into faking an accent, it makes you look insecure. It translates as insecure and fake to the other person who is watching you. It shows that you are insecure of who you are or of where you come from. Now, I do understand that a majority of content consumers are Americans, they are Europeans. And of course, to be able to target such people, maybe if you want to get clients online, maybe you want to work with them, or maybe you want to sell to them, then of course those are the type of people you want to target, and of course you need to be able to communicate with them properly. So you kind of feel like when you talk like them, it's going to attract them to work with you, but that is not the case. And 7 out of 10 times, most of these people that you're talking to, they realize that you are actually faking. And instead of it attracting them to you, it sort of distance them from you. Social media is a space where a lot of people come on to fake who they are not. They fake their lifestyle, they fake, I mean, their personality, they fake everything about them. So most people are looking for people who are real. Content creation is all about authenticity. So authenticity is your real superpower. The problem is not your accent. Your accent is not uncultured or embarrassing or even a setback to your online success. Again, this is just your mind trying to trick you into believing that where you come from is not acceptable, is not marketable online. Stop trying to pressure yourself into speaking like someone else. Let your natural voice shine through. I mean, speak proudly. Your audience is going to feel you. Because the truth is, your audience are going to connect with you emotionally when you actually speak exactly the way you speak. And that takes us to the next tip, which is for you to learn how to pronounce your words clearly. Like I said, you do not need an American or a British accent for you to feel or sound confident on camera. Instead of you trying to fake your accent, focus on trying to speak with clarity. And clarity actually comes with good pronunciations. What I've come to realize is that if you really want to feel and sound confident on camera, then you should focus on pronouncing your words clearly. Because when you focus on pronouncing your words clearly, even if you don't have the best of vocabularies, or maybe your grammar isn't perfect, people are still going to understand you and are going to respect you. And that is what actually matters. Do not rush when talking. A lot of people think talking fast actually makes them sound smart. On the contrary, when you talk too fast, it actually makes you sound anxious. Before I started creating content, I would watch so many different videos. I just trying to learn how to talk on camera, how to make videos. And I came across lots of videos which look so hyper, and the creators always seem to talk so fast. And I used to think that was the norm. I mean, if I wanted to get views, get subscribers, then maybe I also needed to talk as fast as these creators. But what I didn't realize was that most of these videos that I was watching were heavily edited, and most of the creators probably had to record their videos several times before they can actually get the right or a good clip that they can put online. What most people don't understand is that talking too fast actually destabilizes your thought process. Every time you say a word, your brain needs to try to figure out what next to say so that your sentence actually makes sense. And of course, the person listening can actually follow and understand what you're saying. What I've realized is that every time I try to talk too fast, or every time I talk too fast, my brain, on the other hand, is always struggling to juggle out multiple ideas and sentences that I should say in real time. And that usually causes me to make a lot of errors. It just makes it difficult for me to organize my thoughts coherently. And it makes it difficult for me to also correct myself in case I actually make a mistake when talking. Plus, when you talk too fast, it actually makes you sound like you're trying to rush through your message, or you're even trying to get it over and done with, rather than you taking your precious time to share meaningful information that your audience can understand. The next tip is for you to try to avoid using filler words. Now, what are filler words exactly? Filler words are actually words that we use whenever we're nervous or anxious, or even lack words to say, just confused, right? I'm talking about words like Mm, but yeah, those words. Those are all filler words. Those are words that usually slips in without you even realizing when you're talking. A lot of us are guilty of using filler words, including myself. So the best way is to practice learning how to avoid using filler words all the time, because it just breaks the flow of your message. When you keep on using filler words, it actually makes you sound unsure of what you're saying, and it also makes the audience to see you as someone who is trying too hard to think of what next to say. And that also translates to you being someone who doesn't know much of what they're trying to say. Try to avoid using filler words, and the best way I've found is for you to use pauses, or you can either use a complete full stop. For example, instead of using just stay quiet, just use a pause or full stop, just keep quiet. The time that you're keeping quiet, your brain is going to try to figure out what next to say. Now, the last tip I have for you is practice or rehearse your script before you actually record. What I've learned is that you cannot actually think your way into confidence. You need to practice confidence. Confidence is not something that you just think and it becomes part of you. You actually need to practice it. I came across a quote which says, the easiest way to build self confidence is to do the things you fear repeatedly until fear actually gives way. So, what I got from the quote is that confidence grows through repetition. And one of the things that I've been able to do, or to help me grow my confidence, is to put myself out there on social media with all my flaws and insecurities. Like I said, I was a very shy person, and I'm still a shy person, but I'm not exactly where I used to be, because I have learned the art of building confidence. One of the things I have found that is easy, or that has helped me to build my confidence, is being able to write down my scripts and practice that scripts before I actually come in front of the camera. So what I do is, before every video, I usually have a script that I practice on at least 3 times before I actually create the final video. So I usually rehearse my script once in front of a mirror, or maybe just turn on the camera and just practice it. Every time I rehearse my script, I usually focus on improving something. It can be either my tone of voice, my hand movement, my facial expression, or my body movement. These are all characteristics that can greatly impact the outcome of a video. Even more than the words that actually comes out of your mouth, you need to pay close attention to your body language. Because what I've realized is that your body confidence actually speaks louder than the words that comes out of your mouth. Even if your message isn't that exciting or interesting enough, but if your body language exudes confidence, it makes your video 10 times better. So I'll try to work on my posture, whether it's to sit upright or to use my hands naturally or even just to smile naturally. I usually do all this during the rehearsal process, and I realize that during the first take, it's not usually that good, but by the time I go to the third take, I see significant improvement. This just goes to show that the more you do something, the less fear actually matters. So you need to practice confidence until it feels natural. What most people fail to understand is that confidence doesn't come first, action does. Every confident YouTuber you now see today actually started from fear. And that is because almost everyone has some form of insecurity. And being able to put yourself out there on social media where everyone can see you and people can easily feed on your insecurity, it's one of the most nerve-wracking things to do. But in my opinion, it's one of the best ways to build confidence. YouTube content creation has helped me to build a form of confidence that I never thought I would be able to build it. If you're watching this video and you're still doubting yourself, then here's my advice. Start with one video. It doesn't matter if your voice is shaky, if your grammar isn't good, if your accent it doesn't sound right, doesn't sound perfect, or maybe your setup isn't perfect enough. Just start with one single video. Because the truth is, once you start, fear begins to fade away, and that is when confidence actually takes its place. Remember that you don't need to be confident to start. You just need to start in order to be confident.